So I'd like to welcome in Kenny Stein with the Institute for Energy Research. Kenny, thank you so much for your time. So we just talked about it. This new report shows energy costs have gone up by 13% this year. Aging infrastructure and regulations get some of the blame, but there are also over 5,000 data centers now in our country. So, I've certainly seen the increase on my electric bill. How much of this is supply and demand? What is the impact in all of this when it comes to data centers?
So certainly some of it is a supply and demand issue. It takes a long time for new electricity generation to be built. The timelines are 5 to 10 years sometimes. So it's not something that can adjust quickly to sudden increases in demand. But what you've really seen is that nationwide average actually masks huge variability state by state. And certain states have been hit very, very hard, whereas other states have been closer to the standard rate of inflation. And those really are policy choices. Individual states make a lot of decisions that affect the price of electricity. So the states that have the worst price increases, it's generally because of decisions by their governors, by their legislatures, sometimes as much as 10 years ago. But it's a policy-driven issue. And data centers may have an impact in the future, but so far there is not a direct connection. The states with the most data centers, places like Virginia and Texas, have below average electricity rate increases. So you can't make that one-to-one connection with data centers, at least at this point.
All right, so Kenny, I'd like to listen to some of what we've heard from Texas Governor Greg Abbott, what he told News Nation about data centers reducing electricity bills.
Data centers must bring their own power. They must reuse their own water, and they must reduce electricity costs for residential customers as well as small business customers. Those are bottom line expectations.
All right, so that might be in a perfect world. Do you think there should be some type of federal AI data center moratorium until Congress does set some real standards, some real guardrails to protect Americans against these rising costs?
Well, I think a moratorium would be a bad idea, because that's a blanket thing that freezes any sort of development in place. The real key is there's permitting changes that can be made. It's really allowing us to produce more electricity. That's the key. And there have been limitations. And again, these have been policy decisions made for 5 or 10 years now that have been assuming decreasing electricity use nationwide. And so part of it is Congress changing some of those attitudes that they've had for a long time of trying to reduce electricity use. But it's making sure that the policies are in place that allow for Governor Abbott is talking about data centers bringing their own power. Most data centers want to bring their own power, but sometimes there are permitting issues with them having their own power generation. So there are perverse problems here that this is a larger problem with. It's hard to build things in America these days. And what we need more power generation. We need more transmission lines. And so those are reforms that should be happening. And a moratorium doesn't actually fix those problems. It just gives members of Congress a talking point that allows them to blame someone else.
So can you talk about how the tech giants are responding to these proposed restrictions?
Well, they're very concerned, obviously, because what they want to do is they need to build as quickly as possible. There's a global race for AI preeminence with a lot of Chinese companies, a few European companies. So the key to that is processing power. So they need more data centers, and they want to build them as quickly as possible. And they have trouble getting enough electricity to fuel these data centers. They have supply chain issues of their own, even for generating their own power. So again, there are multiple issues interacting here, and the key is that we should be trying to lift all boats here. We want to generate more electricity. Generating more electricity will lower prices for average customers, as well as provide that fuel for the data center growth. It's an important economic driver too.
So do you think as the number of data centers continues to rise, are we going to see this problem continue to get worse for American consumers?
I think that a lot of that is going to depend on the policy actions undertaken by state governments. Because if you make it, like in Texas as actually a good example of this, they make it easy to build things. And it is true that if you build these data centers can help pay for the new electricity generation that's needed. And once you have more customers on the grid, you can spread the fixed costs of the grid around to more customers, and it can actually help alleviate price increases in general. But that takes policy, a positive policy that allows things to be built, not just data centers being built, but you need power plants to be built. You need transmission lines to be built. And a lot of states make that extremely difficult. And when you make that more difficult, it makes it more expensive. That raises everyone's cost of electricity.
All right. Kenny Stein, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.